Oh, thank you. Okay. Sure, I'll go first. So we're going to answer the same three type of questions, the same three questions or same question for all of us here. How has your organization grown your events, best part of it, toughest part, and what's next? So I'm Tim Cullen, representing the Rock Aqua Jays. I was on the team, been on the team pretty much all my life. So I've seen us grow small events to big events. How have we grown it? I wrote down a couple notes here. Some core group of hardworking people, like I was just talking to Paul, there's some people on our team who are really dedicated, who have been on the team for many, many years. So that has helped us a lot. We have a great relationship with the city. Even before, can't think of a city manager's name right now. Mark, yeah. Even before him, it's great, and it still is great. So if you can get a good relationship with the city to begin with, that'll only help you out years down the road from there. Don't bite off more than you can chew, okay? We didn't grow, I'm not talking just each, the shows we do twice a week. I'm talking like the events we do, like the national tournament and the 4th of July. This is Josh Fox over there. He helps run our 4th of July event for us. We got that event because the Janesville JCs, I hope I'm not going to offend anybody who was on the Janesville JCs, but they ran that event for many, many years. But why don't they do it anymore? Because you can't lose money and continue to do it. I mean, simple, right? So the best thing is don't bite off more than you can chew and don't lose money. So when we do the 4th of July event, we don't make it a 3-day event with bands and a whole bunch of other expenses out there. It's 1-day event. And now we know we can do a 1-day event profitable. Can we keep doing that and then add it on as strategically and smart as we go along the way? So we didn't lose money to begin with, and we continue to not lose money on that event, and that's why we continue to do it. Now, the nice thing about it this year is that we're basically the only fireworks event in Janesville this year because the church out there is not going to do it anymore. I don't know why, but now there'll probably be more pressure on us to produce it. It is not a City of Janesville event. It's a Rock Aqua Jay event with the big help from Festival Foods. So don't bite off more than you can chew and don't lose money. Think local. And then grow from there. So Andy Snow was in here earlier. His dad has been a member of the team for many, many years. And when the team started off doing the first national event, and we kind of grew it from there. And hopefully in 2024, we'll host the 2024 50th national tournament. So it's grown from 1976 up to 50 times now. And Janesville will host the most of them by far because of our site is fantastic. And that's one of the biggest best part about that growth is that we've been able to grow our site and give back to the community by creating a big event like that. This site down here in Traxler Park is the best in the world. I'm not just making up the hyperbole. It really is because it's protected conditions and very nice facility to see everything, and we're growing that very nice. So how do we grow it with other things? So related to our core is water skiing, okay? So how do we grow it besides just a national tournament, trying the wakeboard event, nighttime jumping event? It's kind of cool to see. We're going to do that again this year. It takes place about 8 o'clock at night. We bring in lights from JP Cullen. They donate them to us, and we can light up the whole river at night and do water skiing at night. Very cool to see. So hopefully you come down for that. But then adaptive water skiing, where people who are in wheelchairs or mentally challenged to get out there and function like a water skiing. We found ways to adapt to that, called adaptive water skiing. Very cool event we do for like a 1-day thing, along with a conjunction of other people who help run that type of thing. So the best part has been the success we had and growing the site, growing the facility that we do have. The bleachers we have down there, each one section is at least $60,000. So we couldn't just buy 4 at one time. That doesn't happen. The site you see now has been many, many years in the making. And I can tell you this, and you guys probably agree, when you do fundraising for things, it's a lot easier to fundraise for an asset, something that's tangible. When I was raising money for that last bleacher, to go out and knock on doors and say, hey, we're trying to raise $60,000 for this nice set of bleachers right here that we can fill many times throughout the summer. A lot easier than saying, hey, would you donate to the ski team? For what? Well, just to help us run the team. That's not sexy and exciting. So trying to find something you can, have an asset like that. So that's the best part about it. Toughest part, or the best part is economic impact that we bring to the city for all the events we do. Christine can help you figure out what that number is, but each event is huge. Like the Janesville, like your biking event, that's gigantic economic impact for the city. So that's been great to see. Toughest part, we are a public attraction in a public park, and sometimes we don't attract the best people. And so we have to have a good relationship with the City of Janesville Police Department. And so keep that in mind as well. And then what's next for us? 4th of July, our regional tournament in June, and then each show, but then the 2024. So I probably took more than 5 minutes, sorry about that. But those are the questions I have.
All right, so at Rotary Botanical Gardens, our focus obviously is on education first and foremost. And with that, we have a number of events throughout the year of varying sizes and scale. We also hold plant sale fundraisers and a multitude of things. But what I want to really focus on today is our holiday light show, because it is a very large scale event that we do each year at the gardens. And as I mentioned in one of the earlier sessions, so sorry if I'm repeating myself for those who were in here before. The Holiday Light Show started 25 years ago. So this 2021 show was the 25th show. Now it started very, very small and has seen really exponential growth within the last 5 to 6 years especially. We have seen, about 55 to 58,000 people in the last 2 to 3 years, and that number just has continued to go up. And so, one of our biggest challenges is managing the attendance for a very large scale multiple night event, and making sure that we have all of our bases covered. And so as you experience that kind of growth, you really have to always kind of keep reevaluating, okay, are we on the right track here? Are we producing an event that people are going to want to come and see? So some of the challenges for us are keeping things fresh. So, if you don't want to come and see the same lights in the same spot every year after year, there are a few areas that we try and keep tried and true, because it's kind of tradition for some people to, take their picture at a certain selfie station in our big Adirondack chair, for example. They want that maybe for their Christmas card or, a holiday greeting on their social media. But we always are trying to reinvest and keep things fresh as well. So that's really important for us. So we've been able to grow our event. I think what the catalyst was, honestly, for us was, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, Travel Wisconsin did an awesome 30-second clip for us. Sue, do you remember exactly what year that was? Was it 4 or 5?
I would say 5.
Somewhere, okay. That was really probably the turning point. And it was just this awesome 30-second clip that they used on all of their marketing and social media, and it went haywire. We were just inundated with people that year. And social media for us, that's where it's at. It's our number one method of getting the word out to people, because once they see someone's pictures at the Holiday Light Show, I want to take my family there. And so that's how things really kind of escalated, and we've been really leveraging our social media to really continue the event interest over the last several years. But that was probably one of the catalysts about 5 years ago. In addition to the fact that we continue to reinvest in the show and purchase new displays and really keep things exciting and fresh for our visitors too. So that's a big part of it. Best part about that growth, certainly for us, the Holiday Light Show is a huge fundraiser. It's by far our biggest. Kind of ironic that a botanical garden has their largest fundraiser in the middle of the winter. But hey, you have to capitalize on what works for you. And this enables us, this large-scale fundraiser enables us to keep the gardens growing and reinvest then, and so that our visitors that are there through the growing season can see the gardens at its best. So it's vital for our existence, certainly, toward our helping our operating budget, certainly. So for us is the income certainly, and the best part about the growth too is seeing all these people have a great experience. We've talked about that in the last couple of sessions, how important it is for your visitors and people attending any event to have a good experience, because they're going to tell their friends and their friends are going to tell their friends and they're going to want to keep coming back, and that's really, really important. Toughest part of that growth, certainly for us, was making sure that we had enough staff and volunteers to run a multi-night event. So last year, in honor of our 25th year, we actually upped the number of nights. We had been at about 20 to 21. We actually upped that to 25, and it was a lot. We have a very small staff, certainly, and rely on a multitude of volunteers to execute the event, and just keeping fresh each night. And it kind of becomes like the Groundhog Day movie, where it's the same thing. You're going on day after day, and making sure that the staff felt comfortable and was still as excited as the first day. Once we came to the last night as well, and keeping that happy face, and making sure that we had enough volunteers and people to run the event itself. So that's probably our biggest challenge with that growth. We've learned a lot, certainly. I've been at the Gardens about 5.5 years now, and seeing from where we started, I started on Halloween, and so the show was pretty much planned at that point. So that was kind of my first year through it, and then seeing some of the changes that we could the next several years has been fun, and we're always constantly reevaluating and what worked, what didn't, what can we do better, and that's really important as well. What's next for us? Our holiday light show has become a staple in the community, and certainly, southern Wisconsin and beyond. And we're really proud of that. We have gone to all online ticketing now the last 2 years. Plan to never give that up, because we can control our numbers. So we're making it a better guest experience for people who are coming. So by limiting our numbers, adding a few more nights, we're maximizing the show. It takes 3 months to set it up and 3 months to take it down. So we're gonna run it as many nights as we can. So having those 25, 26 nights right in there are really important for us. So we limit our numbers each night so that everybody there can have a really great experience and not be too crowded. Parking's controllable, all of those kinds of things that go into it. We've had a couple years where, I'll admit it got kind of scary. We had too many people, and it was the Saturday before Christmas, is always, now it always sells out in advance, but it used to be the busiest, and, there was a time where we had over 7,000 people plus in one night, and that's too many. It's not good for anybody. So we've eliminated all that. We've learned a lot, and we're going to continue and hopefully put on a great event for the community and beyond.
Got one, thank you. So growth for our organization. So one of the things that we have been doing is monitoring and listening to feedback from both guests, our staff, our board, and our volunteers. So we are constantly incorporating that feedback to make things better, to streamline things, to add things. What about this? There's a lot of what about this, and nobody wants to do it. So you have to balance those things to make people really feel like they're being heard and appreciated for that, but yet still continuing to give stuff forward. So one of our Christmas has grown as well, thanks in large in part to Becky. We used to do an event called Christmas with the Tallmans, which was like a 1 or 2 night thing, and it got just really stale and old, and attendance was maybe the same 12 people. I'm being funny, but it just was very, very low. So I met with Becky, this was 3.5 years ago already, and I said, hey, what do you think if we did a Christmas tree show in the Tallman house? That would be a total compliment, like the hours would run earlier than the light show at the Gardens and whatnot. And Becky was really receptive to us, and she actually helped us come up with the name. So she's the Holiday Light Show, we're the Holiday Tree Show. And we do the same days, Our hours are early so that we're accommodating and helping to spread things out as well. Sadly, our attendance isn't what her attendance is, and that's okay, but we're continuing to grow that, and good investment. So during the pandemic, we moved the tree show outside because nobody could come in, and that was met with just so much appreciation from so many people. I was getting handwritten letters and photographs. Somebody offered to pay our electric bill in February just to keep the lights on another month. I mean, it just was really crazy, the outpouring that happened with that. And so this year, of course, we had a few trees outside, but went back to more inside, and the feedback was we want both. So that's something, again, listening to what people are saying. We have work to do, and good thing we're getting that information in December so we can work on it for the following year. So another thing is with listening to that feedback and just kind of seeing responses to things. I'll take an example of one of the tours in the Tallman House that's been developed. It's called the Tallman Technologies Tour, and it talks about a point in time where the house actually went up for sale and Mr. Tallman was going to just get rid of the home. But it talks about all the advancements that he incorporated into the house that were really avant-garde for the time in Janesville, Wisconsin. So attendance at first was really good, and then it just kind of dwindled almost to nothing. And I'm like, what's happening? And we through all of our discussions and searching and whatnot, I think the word Tallman is associated with people saying, I did that in the third grade, why would I come back? So we're changing the name to it this year to 1872 Smart Home. Everyone knows smart homes, right? That's a little buzzy word, and it's actually, we're not changing the script at all, we're just changing the title. So crossing fingers, we'll see how that one goes. The best part of our growth is for me, is just many more community relationships have been developed. Edie's sitting here right in front. I'll talk with her about our Wednesday program that she has helped us with that started during the pandemic because we could do the whole thing outside. So every Wednesday in the summer, we do something called Artrageous Wednesday. The pandemic was here. The artists were still creating work. We do this huge arts festival in August, and everyone was getting, depressed and whatnot because they had no outlet to sell and keep creating. So we started this Wednesday night program where we invite local artists to come. We have local musicians, local food trucks, and for RCHS, it's community. We're getting people together, and our revenue stream from that is our alcohol sales. So we're lucky to have a full liquor license with that, so that helps us get through those nights, and everything else that we have as expenses are sponsored for us. This is year 3 that we're going to be here in 2022. We've realized the hours were too long and there were too many of them spread out too long. So we're going to a concise June, July, August time frame, and we're going to be 3 hours a night instead of 4 hours a night. And we're upping the ante with music, and that's where Edie comes in. She has just been instrumental, had to do it, in getting us all the local talent, finding people for us to be there, and to get that moving ahead for us. And the same thing with the Arts Festival. Again, listening to feedback, people want more. They want demonstrations. They want people doing art. They want the musical arts, the food arts, the theater arts. So we're changing the name of that to the Tallman Festival of the Arts. I don't expect that to catch on too many very soon to the people that know it as the Arts Festival, and that's fine. But the format's going to change slightly with that. The toughest part about this is it seems like you're constantly chasing your tail. So when you're bringing new people on, they can easily, whether it's a volunteer or a staff member, or even sometimes board members, they think that you're constantly, chasing after this next thing. But in essence, we are. We always have to be doing that to be able to stay with things that resonate with our audience. So every event, there's always one new caveat at a minimum to it that we introduce. And it could be something smaller, it could be a complete revamp. So, the Tallman Arts Festival in 2022 is going to be 2 days. The campaign is 2 and 22. We start on Saturday. We're going to have a headliner band Saturday evening, and then the Sunday format will remain the same. So the feedback from the artists has been really positive that we're having that happen. Plus, again, Tim spoke about the economic impact. That's constantly on my mind. Like, the downtown helps us. We help the downtown. We help the gardens. Like, all of us work together in this. And if we're not, that's where we fall apart as a community. So what's next for us? Next year is our 75th anniversary. So we are already working on programming for 2023. Everything will surround about being 75 years old and what that means to us, what Janesville looked like back when this started, all sorts of different things that'll be there. We are also expanding our museum experience because of our connection with Black Hawk Community Credit Union and the Rock County Legacies. We'll have a new exhibit open on August 31st, the first ever or the inaugural Rock County Legacies exhibit. But before that, in that same space, we have a traveling exhibit coming, and it's all about Star Wars, 1977 to 1985. And some people look at me and they're like, why is the Tallman House doing Star Wars? Well, the Tallman House is a building. It's one of 7 on our campus. We are an organization called Rock County Historical Society. We have 2 museums. We have, all sorts of different things that we can do with that. And if we're not trying to continue to draw in different demographics, because our demographic is everybody birth to death, then we're not doing our jobs. So, questions, comments? Yes, sir.
There's a difference between growing and scope creep. And do you find that a problem, and does it mostly come from your board?
So I'll speak first. Like my board, I think because I was a board member before I became a staff member, and they know me, they rely on me to take care of those things. And I worked in the private sector. In IT, I was actually all about like change management, making sure things were running the most efficiently and all of that. And that transcended IT, and I went into all the other administrative areas. So I'm constantly focusing on ensuring there is no scope creep. In fact, I get a lot of, well, you can't do that, Tim, and I'm just keep scaling things back. And then it's demonstrating that it's actually a better experience because not only are our guests enjoying it, but the staff and the volunteers are enjoying it too. So I think it's a very important thing to keep in the forefront constantly when you're doing things. Whether it's what's the theme in the gardens this year, or what's this program going to be, or for us, like we haven't had school children for the one-room school experience in 2 years now. They're coming now back. Like all of a sudden that was going to become this huge thing, and kept just bringing it back in, and like remember what is our audience, what are they expecting, what's going to make them remember this 10 years from now, kind of a thing. So.
It's a great question. I can, from the perspective of the AquaJs, we had the, sorry about that, we had partnered with a group to do the haunted house. Then it became just our own haunted house. So why is the water ski team doing a haunted house for years? And it turned out really good for many, many years because it's a good moneymaker, but it kind of just got that grinding effect on our volunteers and our members, where they had to sign up for a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon in the fall. So I think if you have that creep, if you go into it with the mindset, we're going to try it for a limited time, for 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, then it might be okay. But we kind of got into it as an open-ended situation, and it kind of we finally had to close it down, and it was just too much because. Great moneymaker though. So somebody looking for another thing to do for Janesville, a haunted house is a good thing to do.
We tried it.
Yeah, it is. It's good, but you got to do it right, and it can be costly.
And you need about 300 volunteers.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's hard. Great question though. Yeah. Someone else had another one, or do you want to answer that too?
You bet. I think you guys great job.
I think having agility is really incredibly important too, and I think. Thinking of things as like this will be year 64 for the Arts Festival. Well, it's tried and true. People come to it. We always have a great turnout. We're not going to do anything to really like move away from that concept because that really works for us and it's solid. But like we did the haunted house and the Tallman House, and actually we had to stop. We were finishing in the red every year. Mm-hmm. It's a museum, and museum things were being destroyed. The walls were being marred up. I mean, and it took such a huge amount of effort to do these things. It's constantly looking at that return on investment with that stuff. And I think it really gets you down the right path if you're staying true to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stay in your core. Yeah. Good. If we do, okay, Chris. Thank you very much for this event today. Great idea.